Well, hello. When you pop on, say hello so I know who's hanging out with me. And I'm going to start grabbing some markers here. Well, hi. How the heck are you, girl? I know this live is going to make some people super duper happy because we have had this stamp set out for a while, actually about exactly a year, because she was for my birthday last year. And she's very, very small on this stamp set. We did that by design, obviously. We wanted her to be small so she would fit on a bunch of different things. But today, tonight, we're going to release her in digi format. So that means you can do all kinds of fun things with her. Obviously, you can blow her up and make her really big. You can change the direction of her. You can change the lines so that you can color in no lines. There's all different fun things you can do. So she will be in the shop tonight in digital format. When you get the digital, you will get her and her little coffee pot or teapot here. You do not get the sentiments. That's the difference between buying the stamp set and the digital. However, this is the very last stamp set in stock. So if you want the stamp set, you got to go to the store and you got to get it because this is the very last stamp set that we have of this. So she will be releasing in digital tonight. So let's get coloring. First of all, would you guys like me to color her in black lines or in the no lines format? Well, hello, big sister. So I can color her with black lines or with gray lines, black or gray. Let me know what you would like. Hi, Cheryl. Black lines or gray lines? Shout out, black lines, okay? So my first shout out is black lines, so there we go. Then we're going to do facing right or facing left. What would you like? Hi, Tyler. Facing right or facing left? She's in the stamp set, she's facing left, but we can do her facing right. Tyler says facing left. He's a purist. He wants her this direction. All right. And then the other thing is I'm going to have you guys like full on, all out, choosing the colors on this. So everyone be ready. Would you like her to be Caucasian, tan, like super tan, like European kind of, thinking like Italian-ish, or like African-American? Hi, Allison. What kind of skin color would you guys like on her? We can go light, medium, or dark. How about that? Light, medium, or dark. I pulled out like Caucasian. This is light, but we can do light, medium, or dark. Super tan. Okay, we can do that. I like doing super tan. It's a very fun skin color to do. So I'm pulling out some other markers here. Okay, so we're going to start with her skin and we're going to go from there. So I have my E000, and let me zoom this in just a little bit for you guys. All right, sorry about the earthquake. So what's everybody up to, man? I feel like everyone's just been super duper busy. I know that I am getting my booty kicked because coming home from the shows and then getting ready for the sweet retreat. OMG, I have so much stuff going on. Yeah, Animal Crossing. Hola, Jane. Super tanned, super tanned. Okay, you guys win. I love how everybody has agreed on everything thus far. I think all of us pale girls are saying super tan because that's what we want to be. Don't think I'm not onto you. So this girl is releasing in digital format tonight when Leah gets home from work. And hold on just a second. My mom is texting me. And when mom texts, you know you have to answer. Okay. So I'm going to switch over to E18. So normally I would do E04. But when I do super tan, I like to use a super dark brown. So we're going to go E18. I'm going to take both lids off so that I have really good control over the flow of the ink. And sometimes E18 can be a little bit sticky, even if your marker is full. Also, notice that like we're coloring on white paper and this E18 looks super, super dark. And that's okay. It's just because there's all that contrast from the light colored paper to the super, super dark. So it's going to look scary. It's going to be very scary. Hey, Mom. Right? Hi, Holly. So Holly, I hope she doesn't mind that I'm outing her here, just bought a whole bunch of sequins. And I'm so excited to ship her this big, huge bag. We're talking flat rate bubble mailer of sequins. And see all the cool little sparkly things that she makes with them. Okay. I use my E18 when I'm coloring like tan skin. Tan skin like this. Excuse me. I'll show you my color blend as I go along here. Man, hold on a sec. I need to get a drink of water because I choked on air. Hey, Jen. How are you? Those chickens start producing eggs yet? Or are they still freeloading? Jen has a ton of chickens. And they're so cool. I want to go over and meet all of the chickens. But I've never had a chance. We're always busy doing something. And I never make it over there to meet all the chickens. And she was complaining about them last time because they were being freeloaders because they were all molting. Lee, just so you know, Holly was being like super nice about the sequins and she was like, oh, those are bright pink. Lee's probably going to want those, so I'll only take one. And I was like, Lee already has them. 1 egg a day. You've collected a dozen for me, but you need those. You have a family that you need to feed. All the glittery things. So then I'm going to go to E13. And I always push back. So I'm going to turn her around and I'll be pushing the shadow back into the shadow. So what that means is I'm going this direction. Because I don't want to pull that dark color out into my highlight. Because it will muddy up my highlight. So I'm going to be pushing all of this color dark back. I forgot her ear entirely. None of you even told me that I forgot her ear. You're all fired. All right, so business. Yeah, I know you have all of them already. You have all the things. If you'd like to win whatever project I'm working on today, please share this video. And once a week, I mail out all the projects to all the winners. So just share this video and then click comment on here and comment with the hashtag did someone say prizes. And if it won't let you comment, I know there's a couple of you here watching that Facebook will not let you comment. Faith and Lena, to name a couple. If you guys are here and you share the video, just send me a DM that says hashtag did someone say prizes, and I will still enter you to win. It's not your fault that Facebook is mean. Facebook has been so glitchy lately. So stinking glitchy. I expect a lot more out of my free products here. My free social media platform. Tyler, you hear RG growling in the background? He's alive and well. So again, I'm just pushing that darker color back. Lee, can you tag Lydia, please? She will want to see that we're coloring this girl because I think she's going to use this girl on her project today. And I think if a whole bunch of people tag her, or if a couple people tag her, she might pop on. She usually doesn't pay attention to her notifications until, like, it's, you know, a bunch of people tagging her. Okay. Hi, April. How are you? Thanks, Tyler. Okay, so now we're going to E11. I'm sure he says hi in return, Tyler. I'm sure. Notice all the way around here, I'm still using brush strokes. I'm not doing like one even stroke. I'm still using little brush strokes because these pens are brush markers. And the whole point of having that really tiny nib on here, the tip on the nib, is so that you can get that detail in. And if you just set this marker on the paper, like if you just set it on there, you're going to get bleeding. So if you use brush strokes, you're going to have a much better outcome. So full disclosure, I'm growing out my hair right now. I know I'm all over the map today. I'm like squirrel. And it is like in my face all the time right now. April's so excited for the retreat. Heck yeah, girl. My hair is just like in my face all the dang time. And it's not long enough to pull back in a ponytail yet because I'm growing it out from a pixie cut. So it's not quite long enough to pull back into a ponytail yet. And I can put my bangs back, but then, I know, right, Nona? Again. Right? And, okay, so the real full disclosure, Allison, is I think at least once a year, maybe once every other year, I get to the stage where I'm like, I'm going to grow my hair out again. And so I grow my hair out. I start growing it out. And then by summertime, I get really bored with it because it gets to that medium stage where it's not long, but it's not short. And I pixie it. And I go, don't go, I mean, when I pixie my hair, I go all the way. We're talking like shaving the sides and like we're all about the full-on pixie thing that works for me when I chop and then grow out. I can't do headbands because of my glasses and stuff. It gives me like migraines. Hi, Sonia. So yeah, I've never been able to do headbands. They hurt my head. And if I do, like the stretchy ones, you know, like the actual like sports style headbands, my hair's so short in the back, like the nape of my neck, that they just like slide up. And so then my hair's like all sticking out all weird angles and being funky. So my mailman is honking at me because I have a bunch of packages coming today. So excited. Archie, honey, no. Sarah, would you like another dog? No. No. I'll bring them to you. Yeah, headbands just totally give me a headache. 2-piece braid from your bangs down the sides. That's what okay, I'll try that. I can try that. I found a cool way to do that with a pencil too. Right? Who wants another dog? Just during my lives. Other than that, I love him. Would you stop barking? Okay. So this dress is many parts and many pieces. And so what colors or color scheme... I know Archie does want to open the packages. Right, Allison? It looks really cool. I'll never be able to do it. So what color scheme should we go with here? I generally use about 3 colors. Good Lord. Archie, come here. Hold on one moment. I think there's one I have to sign for. Stop. Thank you. I'm so sorry, guys, but hey, December stamp sets are here. Yay! December release is here. You want to do Christmas colors? Your dogs are barking. Teal blues, Christmas colors. Okay, I can work with this. Okay, so let's pull out a teal blend. I'm gonna do like a really dark teal. And we're going to mix this in with Christmas. Okay, so there's that. And then we're going to do a red. I want 39, 29. I need a mid-tone here, so we're going to go 14. I love teal and red together. So we're going to do teal and red, and then we're going to go from there, okay? Okay. All right. So I'm going to do this train in the teal colors, I think, because I like this soft, smoky teal. So I'm going to start with BV29. This is my chameleon marker. She has to glitter it up. No, no, no. So, the secret to... Hi, Kaylee. Archie was barking at the mail guy. So, the secret to doing the ruffles and stuff for me is that I start at the bottom. And I go along and I see where there would be shadow. So, I'm going to start by going that there would be shadow here. I love watching this dress come together, okay? And there would be shadow here because the top part of the dress is leaving a shadow on the bottom part. And same with these. So this is like the underside of her dress, okay? So now we're going to go to this first layer here. And the first layer is going to be whatever this leaves a shadow on, and then our cast shadows and our form shadows. So a cast shadow is this casting a shadow onto this, and our form shadows is where the ruffles actually are. So if I'm looking at her, the sun will actually, or the light source will actually be coming from this direction because that's the direction that she's facing. So we're going to start with that premise and know that this is sticking out above this. So we know that there's going to be a shadow here. Don't get too worked up about the shadows, okay? It's all going to work out in the end. Okay? And then again, this is a cast shadow. So this layer of the dress is casting a shadow onto this layer of the dress. Okay? And notice I do make all of my shadows kind of rounded. I feel like it's a little bit softer and a little more feminine. He doesn't deserve the barks, Archie. Oh, a plaid vest. That would be really cute. Okay, so again, we're going to do the cast shadow here. Again, I'm using brush strokes. It makes it easier to blend out in the end. Right? Exactly, Tyler. She's on a different planet. She's in Star Wars. There's like 3 suns there. It's fine. So I'm going to take this artist drawn line and I'm going to elongate it because this is on the side of this that's away from the sun. So if you look at this pleat, like it's like this, it's on this side. Okay. This one also has a little bit of a shadow. So this is a form shadow. So I'm not going to make it nearly as thick. Okay. We're going to go down this. Obviously, there's a shadow here. And then I'm going to rotate this. Again, I'm going to come down this side. Again, I'm going to follow that second layer up. And then there's a little pleat right here. Just like that, okay? So now I'm going to do the same thing to the next layer. This is the underside of her dress. So I'm going to go in and add these shadows here. Everybody with me so far? Can you see what I'm doing? I can ship to France, yes. It does just take practice. And, you know, honestly, is if you go to like Google or Pinterest and you look at photography, it's a really, really good source to find where your shadows go. Looking at photographs of different, you know, types of material, different skirts and dresses, just all kinds of different things like that will really help you locate where these shadows go, because then your eye will get used to seeing it, and it'll help you figure out where to place these shadows. So geek out on photography. I have a Pinterest board that is like photography stuff. So Lee, this should be right up your alley. That shows you, you know, different light sources and things. And so when you take those pictures, you can see where the shadows fall on the material or where the material casts shadows upon itself. Okay, and so then this just becomes repetition over and over. Because that's what repetition is. Don't mind me. And you just follow the same pattern. Now, I'm a little crazy, so I like to add pleats in. So don't mind me adding additional pleats here. Aside from hair, pleats are like my second favorite thing to color. So when I see an opportunity to add extra pleats in, I do such crazy things. Don't forget to share the video. If you share the video and then come back here and hashtag did someone say prizes, you will be entered to win whatever it is that I'm working on. Yeah, you can do that. You can just put the shadows wherever you want, because I mean, my shadows are not perfect. They're not really true to life. And I can tell you right now, the shadows on her arms are completely wrong. But that's okay, because you know what? It's a card. It's paper and ink. And people should just be happy that they're getting a handmade card and not something like from Walmart or the dollar store. I'm really bitter about dollar store cards, so that's a sore subject for me. I could tell you guys that whole story, but it makes me cranky. And I don't think you want me to be cranky. Yes, we are still using your favorite hashtag. Yeah, I don't send my cards to art critics. Please tell the dollar store. Okay, so my mother, and if she's watching, sorry, Mom, throwing you under the bus here. My mother had me make a card for my uncle for his birthday. And the history goes that I have to do a little bit of setup on this story for y'all. So the history goes that my mom does not buy cards from me ever, or I mean, I give her cards and stuff, but she doesn't use my cards ever. And so she finally comes to me and says, I'd like you to make a card for your uncle for his birthday. So here I am like, yay! Mom finally wants me to make a card. I'm so excited. So you show her the stamp. We're Cherokee in my family, so we're into Native American images and stuff. My uncle especially. Not that he's especially Cherokee more than any of the rest of us, but he's just really into the iconography of Native American cards or Native American images. So I proceed to spend a couple of days making a card for my uncle. I used one of the little girls from Whimsy Stamps, adorable little Native American girl, and I put her sitting on the edge of a cliff and overlooking a valley that had a little stream running through it. And really went all out making a background for this card. And I sent my mom pictures along the way. And she was like, oh my gosh, you're coloring so cute. That's adorable. You know, all this kind of stuff. Now, again, mind you, she never buys cards from me. And I'm like, dude, you know what I do for a living, right? Thank you, Marie, and thank you, Holly. And I'm like, you know, I make cards. Like, that's what I do. I've been published in like 6 magazines at this point. Like, you know, why do you not come over here and just raid my card stash? Why do you go to Walmart and buy cards? So spend like 3 days making this card, super cute. And then I tell her, okay, your card's ready. And she's like, oh, let's see it. And I'm like, that's it. I just sent you a picture of it. It's the cute little Native American girl. And I even found a Cherokee proverb and put the Cherokee proverb in it, especially for my uncle. And it was something about aging or whatever. It was a little bit funny. It wasn't, you know, super serious. And she's like, oh, well, that's okay. I'll just go to the dollar store and get him a card. So we're going to let that sink in for a minute. Yeah. So in her defense, I don't think she knew how that felt to me. Hi, Jen. But man, was that ever a blow. So basically, she went to the dollar store and got my uncle a dollar store card instead of the card that I spent like 2 days making for him. And yeah, so there's that. So I went ahead. Yeah. I know, right, Lydia? I totally have to cut ties. I mean, it is my mother, though, so, like, I don't know. Anyways, so and the dollar store, she gets cards 2 for $1. So basically, we're looking at my card wasn't worth 50 cents. I'm guessing it just really wasn't what she imagined, but, you know, whatever. So I was telling my cousin about this, and I was telling my husband about this. And so they're like, you should send Uncle Cliff the card anyways. You should just send it to him. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I'm just going to send Uncle Cliff the card. So I mail Uncle Cliff the card. And I just said, I made this card special for you for your birthday, because that's true. And, you know, love you, all that kind of stuff. And I guess karma came back, because then he bragged to my mom what an adorable card that his niece made him, and that his niece is so talented, and yada, 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 and went on and on about the card. Went on and on about the card that I had made him. So there's that. But yeah, that's the dollar store story. So if you ever want to get my goat, just tell me you don't want a card from me, that you'd rather go to dollar store and get a card. Yeah, I did send it to him. See, Marie, thank you. Yeah, I'm like, this is what I do. Like, I make cards. I don't know. So I try to let that stuff go, but it took me a little bit to let that one go. Lydia, I'm coloring your girl. FYI. I made her really big, though. I have other videos, guys, where I color her when she's tiny, like from the stamp set. And then tonight, this will be releasing in digital format. And so you will be able to get this stamp in digital format, especially all of you ladies across the seas, across that big old pond between me and you. I know a lot of you have asked for digis, so this girl and the Coffee Plan set will both be in digital format tonight at sweetsentiment.us, and it's an instant download. So, hooray! So once you get, it was adored by the person I made it for. Hooray for digis! So once you get that initial shadow laid down, the rest of it is really just following your shadow lines. So it becomes a lot easier and a lot quicker. That initial shadow line does take a little bit of brain power. And don't mind me adding more pleats here, because I already forewarned you, that's what I do. So once you get that original layer, shadow layer put down, it is a lot easier to just continue that same motion over and over until you get to the top of all of your pleats. But I do say one of the best tricks for doing pleats is going from the bottom to the top. Whenever I go the other direction from the top to the bottom, I confuse myself, which, let's face it, not very hard to do. Some days it's easier to confuse me than others. Lydia, if you're still hanging out here, I'm curious. I haven't heard anything on the laundry case. Like, anything since that one report where they found his backpack and notebook and remains that they never confirmed were his. So, catch me up, girl. Catch me up. All right. Same thing. We're just doing the lighter marker. So we're continuing on. Again, these are brush markers, so you want to use brush strokes. Now I'm going up the very front edge of these, mainly because this material, the way the artist drew it, is it looks like it's folding, it's curling back. So I do take a moment. This is the third color in my color blend, meaning it's the true color of the fabric, or whatever it is that you're coloring. And that means it's the color of the fabric devoid of shadow or highlight. So there will be no shadow, no highlight. This is just the true color of the item that you're coloring. Being tested by a forensic anthropologist is lying. Oh my gosh. I cannot believe how horribly they've messed up that case. Like, wow. Just absolute wow to me. Like, I didn't spend all that long in law enforcement. I was only in law enforcement for 10 years. And I can tell you that none of this is standard operating procedure. Like, absolutely none of this. So I don't get why they are saying or doing 2/3 of what they are saying or doing, because it literally makes no sense. And all of the court battles on this are going to be an ever-loving mess. Oh, good night. They're going to be such a mess. So that'll be interesting to watch unfold. I feel so bad for Gabby's parents and her family because they have just mishandled this in every possible way. Not to say there hasn't been like a couple of shining stars who have done things properly or who have tried to do things properly but have been completely overruled. But good Lord. Good Lord. It's fascinating. That's all I got to say. It's absolutely fascinating. So you can see these subsequent layers with these markers are going on so much faster than laying down that first layer of color. Mainly because that first layer took a lot of brain power. And these are just following along. And I love, love, love watching pleats develop, because your first two colors, you're always like, this is so not working out. And then after that, you're like, oh, this is amazing. So I don't know why I started at the top there. Disregard that. Okay. So remember here, you're just leaving the very highlight. I love this dusty teal color. I think it's amazing. This is one of the very few Copic color blends that I use that are like a stair-step order, numerical order of the Copic markers. It's very rare that I use a color blend. Ask Tyler. My denim blend is a stair step as well, but other than that, I really don't use a lot of, you know, numerical order color blends. That's not really how Copics are meant to work. The numbers are the color family, the saturation level, and the vibrancy of them. They use a different word. I can't think of it right now. So the marker colors aren't necessarily supposed to be in numerical order. Holly, your package already went out in the mail. Lee, will you tell her that? Her sequins already went out in the mail. Saturation. Thank you. YG90s, B90s. Yes. And the BG70s. The BGs. Staying alive. What? Did that just happen? So what else is going on now that I like fully bored you with talking about true crime and Copic marker numbers? What's our next topic? Surely it's going to be something. Where did you learn to color? That's true. True crime is never boring. So kind of a hybrid, Lydia. I started with Spectrum Noir markers, and I just kind of started messing around with them. I totally missed this entire pleat. Just kind of started messing around with them. I was not crafty at all whatsoever. I didn't stamp. My cousin was a Stampin' Up! Demo, and so she just kind of forced me, because that's how we stayed in contact. And so kicking and screaming all the way, I bought some Spectrum Noir markers and found that I could art. It was really difficult for me to begin with because I never did art. Art was not my thing in school. I hated it. I used to sit outside the art room and cry. I didn't want to go in. It was icky in there. My grandmother, my dad's mom, was a potter. And so she donated the kiln to our school. And it's still there to this day, still working. And I did not like the clay particles everywhere, in all honesty. And that's what made it feel really dirty and icky to me. And then, you know, of course, a high school art room is never clean. And so fast forward, Lena made me purchase these Spectrum Noir markers and challenged me to different cards and different things. And I found that my analytical brain really enjoyed the cleanliness and the precision I had with those markers. I also really enjoyed that I could make a two-dimensional object look three-dimensional by the way I colored it. So that was the birth of Crafty Jammie. True crime is life. So then I decided that I would get Lena told me about these new markers that are super awesome. Enter, stage left, Copic markers. And so when she instructed me or told me about these markers, I started off with a hair blend because the bane of my existence was trying to figure out how to make those darn bullet nibs on the Spectrum Noir give me a realistic looking hairline. And so once I got Copics for hair, I realized that I had full set syndrome and there was no going back. So I started collecting Copics. I still wasn't super great. I wasn't a fantastic stamper, but I also cannot draw. So I finally found stamps that I really loved, and those were the art of Annie Rodriguez. And any of you familiar with her art know that it's a little macabre, a little dark, a little twisty, and absolutely stunning. It's everything I loved, and it was very, very, very detailed. It was like this to the nth degree. And so I figured out that I would need to take a couple of classes to really get the fundamentals of this medium down. So I did take a Kitten Clowder class. I just took the Skin and Hair Basics because I was fairly confident in my clothing coloring. So I took the Skin and Hair Basics, and I just went on a rampage basically after that. And I took what I learned from that class and applied it to everything else that I was coloring. And then the difference between then and now is thousands of hours with a marker in my hand. Right, Carrie? I absolutely adore Annie. I just found a very true and profound way to express myself through this specific medium. This last year, I have stumbled across this crazy, amazing Texas lady named Lydia Fiedler, and she has broadened my horizons to all other kinds of art, even messy stuff. But until then, I was just stamping and coloring. And I was on a couple of design teams, and I got a devastating blow from a specific design team that really betrayed me. And my cousin, again, told me, stop growing everybody else's dream and grow your own. And so she is the reason that Sweet Sentiment is even a thing, because she told me I need to stop coloring for other people and color for myself. And now, 3 years later, Sweet Sentiment is a thing. So there we go. Rage coloring. I'm not rage coloring. I guess if you look at it long haul, I'm I told you so coloring. But I had a number of people in my life tell me, oh, you're going to be the next Jennifer McGuire, or you're going to be the next Gina K. And I would look them square in the face and tell them, I don't want to be the next Gina K. I don't want to be the next Jennifer McGuire. I want to be the first J.B. Clark. And so I have really not taken any classes or anything like that above and beyond that, because I didn't want to emulate anybody else's coloring style. I wanted to be my own. And that was where the Sweet Sentiment coloring really came about, because I do color quite opposite from everybody. Thanks, April. My coloring style is a lot different because I do come at it from a very analytical standpoint, and I don't come at it from an artist background. I come at it from, how can I place this color where to make this look like a three-dimensional object, or to make this look like it has movement and texture. And that is the Reader's Digest version of the history of Sweet Sentiment. There's, of course, a lot of bumps and bruises and stuff along the way, but oh, did I say rage coloring? I didn't mean rage coloring. Thanks, Cheryl. R14. So, yeah, it's been quite the journey, and I love it. And it's been a lot of hard work, but I'm trying to grow Sweet Sentiment the right way and the honest way. And I was raised to do business the old-fashioned way. So the craft world is kind of cutthroat. Not going to lie. It's very cutthroat. But you are who you hang out with. And so I have found people that are very like-minded, and aw, thanks, Tyler. See, that means the world to me. And I've had a few people that are like, the way that you color and the way that you explain it has really changed the way I color. And I say you should go take classes from a bunch of people. There's enough room in the craft world for all of us. And we rise by lifting others. And so I have always recommended going and taking classes from a bunch of different people, because you're going to take a little bit of what Mindy teaches you, and a little bit of what Alice teaches you, and a little bit of what Jammie teaches you, and a little bit of what Lydia teaches you. And you're going to put that all together, and you're going to create your own style. And that's ultimately what you're going for. So you want your own style. All right, so check this out. So her petticoats down here, I'm going to make, it's going to sound a little weird, but I'm going to make them brown. And I also want her jacket to be brown. So that's where we're going to go with this. So I am going to grab a 3-color blend because these are really tight in here. So I'm going to grab my E55, my E53, and my E51. Again, this must be my day for linear coloring. Oh, thanks. Oh, I'm sure you will go a long way. Just keep, oh, thanks, Cheryl. Yes. Yes, you need to focus on Jen's style and not anybody else's style. Thanks, Joyce. So again, we're going to look at these pleats. And again, I'm going to start from the bottom. So I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to follow where this second layer is going to cast a shadow onto this third layer. So, yeah, I started looking at, Pinterest pictures and finding different ways that shadow laid on different clothing. And I started looking at, photography and all of these different things, and just kind of created my own style of coloring that worked in my head. And they always say, if you want to know somebody walk a mile in their shoes, well, don't do that. Just spend 10 minutes in their head. It's scary in there. You guys would all be afraid. Very afraid. But really, I was looking for a way to make this whole art thing click. because it was really important to me to not lose touch with my cousin. And since I lived in Idaho and she lives in California, we needed a place that we could come together and do something that was fun for both of us, that kept us talking and kept us in touch. So that's where the whole craft thing came from. And I will tell you, in all honesty, I'm one of the least crafty people you will ever meet, because of spending my life in fear of the art room. I really did not embrace anything artsy or craftsy at all until my mid to late 20s. Oh my gosh, April, thank you so much. And so I really needed a way. Dawn hasn't necessarily gave it up. She's just taking a break. She's actually at Cope at boot camp right now with Jennifer Dove. Yeah. So anyways, so I didn't want to lose touch with my cousin, and we just found a way that, like, she would challenge me, and that's what we would do back and forth, which was super fun. Is we would get on Facebook Messenger back in the day when it was brand new, and we would say things like, okay, make a masculine card. So then we'd both, start stamping and coloring and whatever. And she used to always make fun of me because I would be done with my cards in like 5-10 minutes. Done. And she'd be like, dude. And then our next challenge would be like monochromatic card. And so we would do that. And then, make a birthday card. And so we would go back and forth, and it was, her turn to give me a challenge and then my turn to give her a challenge. And we would just go back and forth. And that's how we stayed in touch. And that's actually how we grew really, really close, as well. I mean, we were already close, but it was definitely how we grew closer. Yes, Dawn is a sweetheart. Dawn is definitely a sweetheart. All right. So here we go. Just going up the highlights with this marker. I think this gives her a little bit more of the Victorian flair, adding some browns in here. This is such a gorgeous holiday dress. I want this dress. Okay. And then the other thing I do to kind of punch this home a little bit is I take my colorless blender and I go in the middle of that highlight. So what I do on here is a very watered down version of what I do in my classes. In my classes, I get a lot more technical and I tell you a lot more theory behind what I'm doing and all of that stuff. Okay, right, Sarah. I can color and I can make cards, but other than that, I can't really craft. When I think of craft, I think of like Becky Roberts, okay? Girl can take a piece of wood and some paint, and she comes out with like amazing things. I can't even explain to you what she comes out with. To me, that's crafting. Or like my cousin Lena, she can take, a freaking doormat, and then when she's done with it, it's like painted and cute, and it's like a scarecrow or something. That is not me. I can make you a card. And it's not a dollar store card either, just in case you're wondering. But I look at crafting as people like artsy people who can take, like Lydia, who can take an art journal and take its empty pages and create something personal and meaningful and glorious. And I just don't yet have that in me. And it's something that I'm working on. My art journal is very measured. You saw my paintbrushes. My paintbrushes are literally a card on a paintbrush. I take an image, I color it, I put it on a paintbrush, and then I glue a whole bunch of flowers on it. And in full disclosure, I totally straight up stole that from Prima Marketing, because their booths at like Creativation and stuff are always so gorgeous. And I saw in one of their booths one of those paintbrushes once. And Lydia, how many pictures of paintbrushes did I send you and ask you how to do it? And I think it was because she texted me back. Lydia texted me back. I sent her all these pictures of paintbrushes, and I was like, how does somebody make something like this? And she's like, literally, it's die cuts, paint, and glue. Like, get out of your own damn head and glue some crap to a paintbrush and stop being like that. And so I did, and it worked. So, yes. Yeah, it has a lot to do with the paper. The Sweet Sentiment paper allows you to do one coat coloring because it's built like a palindrome. And a palindrome is the same forwards as backwards. So I used to be a Copic Express It paper snob. And so any of those papers that are like Express It or Nina or anything like that are actually coated on the outside. And so what happens with your alcohol markers is when you layer alcohol markers on top of that, the whole point of an alcohol marker is that the alcohol dissipates or evaporates. And when that alcohol evaporates, you're left with a sticky mess. And so when you go to rehydrate it, you'll get little white spots and stuff because the stickiness is sticking to the nib of your marker, which then clogs your markers. So this paper is actually coated on the inside layers. And so you're actually penetrating that top layer with your alcohol markers, and you're staining the fibers of the paper. Instead of having that marker sit on the surface, it's actually penetrating the paper and staining the fibers of the paper. So if you need to rehydrate this to go down, say you've left or whatever, like this is a pretty harsh line right here. So I can go back. It's been sitting here for a while now. I can go back and I can color it in. And I can rehydrate that because it's the fibers of the paper that I'm staining. So now I can take those harsh lines out of there and work with those paper fibers with that lighter marker. So it has a lot to do with the paper that you're using and the medium that you're using with the paper, which is also why Distress Oxide inks work so well on this paper, because they penetrate that top layer. And then once you hydrate them with the water, it actually dispels within the paper and it allows you to stain more fibers. So there was the Reader's Digest version you didn't really want, but you got it anyway. Okay, so now her little shirt. I'm going to make her little shirt white, but since it's such a small place, I am going to use very few markers. So I'm going to use C1, and I'm going to drop these shadows in around her choker, around the ruffles. See, Lydia, I can be a paper snob too. Ha ha ha. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender. And again, I'm going to push that towards the shadow or pull it depending on which direction my marker's going. And this is how you get shadow in there without turning the shirt entirely gray. That's still a harsh line. Okay. So should this be a ruby here or should we color it teal? I love learning too. Yes, I absolutely love learning. learning is amazing, and it makes me super happy to be able to offer a paper that works so well on so many different levels. You can see it has that shimmer in it, which just makes your coloring pop. So it looks like her whole dress is glittery, which is amazing. It's also slightly off-white if you notice it against the white background. And that also, if you're matting this against a white card base, it'll make your coloring pop out. Teal, okay, we're going for it. So I'm going to take my BG78. And then I always have a ton of people that are that say, well, Copic Expressive paper is really expensive, which it is. And they say, so I only use that for my finished project. So I practice on Nina, but I color on Copic for my finished project. And I always want to scream at them, do you practice soccer in order to play baseball? Like, what are you saying? You have to practice on the paper that you're going to color on, because all papers will take your medium differently, very differently. So please buy the paper that you're going to use. Otherwise, it's just not going to work out for you. Just not. So this is my Copic multiliner, and I have the 0.1. Allison requested that we make her jacket plaid, so we're going to do just that. So see this line right here across the center of her jacket? I'm going to just follow this line. Okay, again, I'm going to follow this line. And again. Now I know you're thinking, oh my God, she just ruined that jacket. It's fine. Feel free to think that, because usually when I do plaid, I think the same thing. So I'm going to follow down the center of her sleeves, and I'm following the shape of her sleeves. And then this one's going to come up from her shoulder. Okay. And then this one's probably going to have one that comes off this way. Now I'm going to do this side. Same thing. Hooray for plaid! Not like a true plaid, like a tartan, maybe. And then I'm going to have one come down her collar or her lapels. Okay, so there's the verticals. You do realize we do not think all the things you keep saying we're thinking. I think them. They're inside my brain. Not even gonna lie. Because I look at it and I go, oh my God, I just ruined her jacket. The first few times I did plaid, I was like, I ruined it. I totally ruined it. Now this one gets a little bit tricky right here because her sleeve is all poofed out. So I'm going to add a little bit of shape to that. So that line's not exactly straight. Okay. Down here, same thing on this one. I was hoping to be done with this before Lydia's live, but it's already 1 o'clock. Sorry, you guys, that it's taking so long. It is quite the image, though. Okay, so there's our squares. Now, to make a true plaid, you have to have that secondary line, or actually the tertiary line, because vertical, horizontal, and then this will be the tertiary line. So I'm going to do this line with my 0.03. It's going to be considerably finer of a line. And I'm going to do it to the left. And this line is what really sells the plaid. There's no live today? What? Okay, and there we go. How fun is that? Good suggestion, Allison. I love it. Okay, don't forget, if you're here, share the video and then hashtag did someone say prizes so that you can be entered to win this. Okay, so what color coffee cup are we doing? We need a cool coffee cup color. And then we're going to go for hair. Teal coffee cup also. Jen, all one word. Did someone say prizes? Otherwise, that won't show up when we search the hashtag. Wow. So, BV29. I'm going to come from the back of the mug. You guys are all into matchy-matchy today. That's okay. With snowflakes. Allison, there you go, Jen. Joyce, all one word, so that I can locate it. Just share the video and then hashtag did someone say prizes. And that way I can search and give this to somebody who shared the video today. Allison, I love how you push me. You're always like, plaid and a cup with snowflakes on it and stuff out of the norm. Nobody wants a plain coffee cup. There you go, Jane. Good job. Pushy, pushy, Allie. Pushy, pushy, pushy. That's okay, though. Keeps me on my toes. Makes me grow. There you go, Joyce. Good job. Thank you guys for sharing. I really, really appreciate it. That's the only way that Sweet Sentiment will grow. And if you guys have not signed up for the newsletter yet, go to the website, www.sweetsentiment.us, and sign up for the newsletter. It's only sent like once every other week. And oh my gosh, you guys with your snowflakes. Okay, so let's do hair color first. So we need a hair color for her. I almost want to do like black hair on her. Or a really, really dark brown. Any suggestions? I know Lee's going to be like pink hair, gray hair, blonde hair, reddish dark brown. Okay. I think I'm going to do the dark brown. I don't know that it's going to be reddish though. E49, E29, I don't want that one. I want E. Ooh, what do I want? We'll throw a little reddish in there. We'll go E37, and then we'll do E23, and then we'll do E31. So she'll have quite the gamut of hair color here. So we're going to start with E49. This is a superiorly dark brown. Very, very, very dark. So this is the reason I got Copic markers right here. Nice, thin brush strokes. And as much as I hate to admit it, you got to use this like a paintbrush. And you got to use teeny tiny little brush strokes. And the only way you're going to be able to do teeny tiny little brush strokes like this is with practice. The difference between you and me is that I've literally colored thousands of images and threw them in the trash. I try not to throw too many images in the trash. I try to put them all on a card. But sometimes they just end up in the bin. As Jen would say, the rubbish. She says rubbish. It's really cute. So I spend a lot of time just coloring to get to where I'm at. And so don't be frustrated with yourself if your brush strokes aren't this tiny. All of these markers are my children, and I know how each one behaves. Because they all behave in a different way. All of you Copic girls out there, can I get an amen? They all behave differently. And so you learn which markers do what. And the only way you can do that comes with time. So just like I did with the pleats on her dress, I'm looking for everywhere that would have a cast shadow. Everywhere where her hair is behind another lock of her hair. I do have a few naughty children, that's for sure. I have a couple of children that are so naughty that I have bought duplicates of that specific color so that I can put them on timeout. Ooh, it's starting to rain here. Okay, so now E29. And again, by taking both caps off, it gives you a lot more control of your ink flow. So if you are having a hard time getting these really soft, small brush strokes, take both caps off. I know Copic markers tend to leak sometimes. That's because there's a certain amount of pressure that builds up in the barrel. No, they're not like pressurized like a spray paint can or something like that. But they do have a certain amount of pressure just by virtue of the way they're built. And so what happens is that if you only take one cap off, the laws of physics will make all that ink go to the point of least resistance, which would be your nib that is down on your paper. So that's when you're going to get ink blobs. The other thing is there's a certain amount of heat to your hand. And if you're holding your marker and you have really hot hands, you're going to speed up the molecules in the ink, and they're going to start moving faster. And what that means is they're going to expand, and they need a place to go. And guess where that place to go is? The point of least resistance. And so they're going to blob out on your paper. So if you do have really hot hands and you find that you're getting a lot of blobs even with both caps off, try putting an ice pack on your desk. And every once in a while, just set your marker down, put your hand on the ice pack like that, and then pick your marker back up. And it will help you to not get so many of those blobs. Now, those of you out there who have super cold hands, rock on, because you probably don't get nearly as many of those blobs. There's also a certain amount of issues that come with climate. So depending where you're at in the world, the pressure in the air itself is going to affect the ink in your markers as well. Like, you don't want to open a Copic marker on an airplane. Just saying. Bad things will happen. You'll be buying the guy next to you a new work shirt, a new dress shirt, because your marker will explode on him. And he will be unhappy with you. Are you guys all with me still? Or have I bored you all with my nerdy, techie stuff? But that's all the kind of stuff that turned me on to Copic markers, because I learned the theory behind them. I learned the information, and it really helped me in my brain be able to figure out how to color. Still enjoying the lesson. All right, and then our last one is E31. Does this girl have blue eyes, or brown eyes, or green eyes, hazel eyes? What color eyes does this girl have? It always kills Becky Roberts that I don't color the eyes until the very end. And I made a boo-boo. So I'm just going to push that back in to inside the lines. And I made a boo-boo right here too. Don't forget to share the video. Hashtag did someone say prizes? Hazel. Your eyes are captivated by that plaid. All right. So since these eyes are very small, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but I'll show you what I do. So okay. And where's my G000? Okay, so same theory as how you choose your other markers is you need your highlight, you need your midtone, and you need your shadow. Highlight, midtone, shadow. And then you have your bridge colors. So this is lighter than this color, but darker than this color. And this one is lighter than this color, but darker than this color. So you have your bridge colors, highlight, midtone, shadow, and then your two bridge colors. And yes, I'm going to fit all these colors in her little tiny eyes. So I'm going to start with my G000, and I'm going to color in her entire pupil there. I'm going to take the blue, and I'm going to come out from the center of her eye. Couple brush strokes will do. I'm going to take the brown, and I'm going to go from the outside inwards. And again, the way I learned to color these eyes, YG63, is by looking at people's eyes. And Y11, do a circle around the pupil. Now to really punch this home, I take my 0.03 and I add the pupil in. And then I take my white gel pen and I add a highlight. There we go. Hazel eyes it is. Okay, so now since I have my white gel pen in my hand, I'm going to make some little snowflake-ish type things here. And then I'm going to grab my silver one, my glittery one, and add some extra dots. And you thought I forgot about the snowflake. I'm also going to add some glitter to her train here. And I touch the glitter with my finger because I don't want a perfectly straight line there. So I just touch it with my finger to kind of dissipate the glitter. And I'm just going into the highlights of these. And that just helps spread out the glitter so it's not a perfectly straight line. Snowflakes and glitter. Yes, I did, Holly. Yes, I did. As I said, I have full set syndrome. I also have full spectrum syndrome, where I have to use all the colors in the spectrum to complete my project. Which works great because you guys always want me to color rainbow things, so works out just fine. So now look at that shimmer. Cool, huh? All right. So there we go. There's our girl. Let me zoom out and show you. There she is. So there's one stamp set available, and this is the last stamp set. And then this will be releasing in Digi this evening. And so it will be on the website tonight. And so you will be able to get the digital format of her. Just like that. So I'm probably going to put her on a super simple card because I want her to be the star of the show. And I will likely just post a picture of it with the winner for today's live. So you still have a chance. Go ahead and share this video and then hashtag did someone say prizes. Rainbow all the things. Did you see my fishies, Lee, that I rainbowed? Oh, look at the rainbow fishies. So this one is called Drink Coffee. And like I said, there's one stamp set available, and then the Digi will be available tonight at sweetsentiment.us. So thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow at noon. So I will talk to you guys later. Toodles.